Good afternoon, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Today, 14th of February 2025. So we are doing third series from Agni Controls, who is our knowledge partner. So we have been having very highly successful webinar from Agni Controls, and this webinar is attracted over close to 750 participants who have shown a lot of interest to understand on fire detection and protection, specifically on data center and critical rooms. And there's so many webinars we've been doing, and this subject has attracted a lot of people, not only from India. We have guests from Egypt, we have guests from Singapore, we are from Vietnam. So I would say it's a global, participation from all across the nation. And myself, the host of the webinar, Dominic, my name is, and again from 35 years from this field, I'm a founder and past president of FSAI and the Focus Critical Utility Services, and more actively involved in National Federation of Engineers for Electrical Safety. In fact, tomorrow we have sustainable power and arc flash detection and all that. Tomorrow we are doing that. Again, Siemens is our technology partner, knowledge partner. And Sunday. Again, on Monday, on first, we have the designing of smoke management and controls for atrium, that is lobby, and smoke. So every Saturday, Sunday, we are Act with Knowledge series. I want to thank Agni for coming forward and doing this session. And so it's a warm welcome to all of you for very special webinar on fire detection and protection for data center and critical rooms. And data center, libraries, and museum wards. We have hospital operation theaters, ICUs. We have, power generators room, electrical distribution room. These are some of the critical rooms which is stores data and highly sensitive rooms with assets and systems that are essential for their respective operation. Protecting these rooms are equally important as they are vital for power supply, data center, storage, and overall operation continuity. So protecting these spaces from fire is more crucial as any incident can lead to catastrophic losses, including data corruption, asset destruction, financial setbacks, operational downtime, and even loss of lives and in the healthcare settings. So recent data says, 37% increase in fire incident in Delhi in 2024 alone, resulting to numerous death and damages for the properties. So, and today's technology, if you see the data center is mushrooming everywhere, hospitals are mushrooming everywhere. So it's very, very important for us to design effective fire detection system and also the suppression system. So today we have a speaker, Mr. Arun Kumar, who specialized in designing for critical rooms, and he will be doing the presentation. We have very highly respected personality, Mr. Balchandar, who is also chairman of the Agni Controls. He will be giving the keynote address today. So I would like to introduce Mr. Arun Kumar, who is the speaker for today. He's an instrumentation engineer with 20 years of experience in specializing in fire detection and fire suppression system for critical area and missionaries. He is very actively involved in CAA MSME panel, and he is also Chennai Zone and Council member of CAA and National MSME Council. He is also active member in NFPA and FSAI and FPA. So he is mainly responsible for R&D, production and development, and also detailed engineering of the system design. That's Mr. Arun for you. He will be doing the session today. So I would like to invite Mr. Balchandar. I have very, when I talk about him, so much of respect that flows out of me because almost 40 years he's been in this field. Many of you wouldn't have been born during when he started his career in the fire protection, and he has mushroomed so many professionals who spread across the globe. And I know him very personally because I know him since almost 25 years now. And I know his engineering capability. What is very exciting for me, the way in detail he does the engineering and the amount of investment he has done in R&D, research and development in protecting lives and property. And also he is one of the founder of FSAI with me. We all way back in 2000 we thought of this idea of association FSAI, and he's one of the founder of the FSA and also first president of FSA. Over to you, sir, Mr. Balchandar, sir. Let us know the purpose of this topic. What do you think about this fire protection industry as a whole, and how critical the data center to be protected? Over to you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Dominic, for your nice words. And thank you for all the participants for logging to this webinar. Actually, Dominic has given some brief introduction about what is going to happen, why it is important and all. Today topic is fire detection and fire protection for data centers and critical rooms. So now, nowadays data centers are coming in large number throughout India, and a lot of activities are happening in Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu, especially. There are large size of data center also is coming. Today, Mr. Arun Kumar Balachandran will discuss various method of fire detection and fire protection system in general, and more particularly about the data centers. Actually, in fact, if you want to be honest with you, there is no best single solution is possible because all of these systems have their own advantages as well as limitation. We don't use the word disadvantage because in the standards we only remove that word and as I mentioned as a limitation. End of the webinar, you may possibly arrive some meaningful conclusion about the type of detection and the type of protection you needed. While talking about the data center, our speaker may not go in depth about fire protection system for battery storage or battery recharging stations. This is a separate subject to be discussed in length and breadth. Why now the lead acid batteries are being used as backup to UPS and all, but very fastly it is going to move lithium ion batteries. So while on this subject, lithium ion battery storage, and someone may ask it is only one single block or single building. Clear, sir? Okay. Now it is clear. If
Sir, your data, you have a data problem. Your very weak data, so signals are breaking. If you can change the internet setting, so maybe better. But you can now it's clear. You can go ahead.
okay. Now,
Yeah.
no, anyway, it is a short briefing. Okay. How we can isolate the, storages like that in a single building. So there is some just a solution as out of our long experience. Yes, we can have a firewall, which is nothing but 6 to 8 inch concrete wall. Simple partition with a decorative sheet will not increase, will only increase the fire load. Actually, beauty and safety will not go together. Rust batteries. will have a thermal runaway and lead to explosion, explode and flame and burn very violently. So this type of fires are creative fire, reactive fires and take oxygen everywhere possible, continue to burn, produce a very high energy and high temperatures. Inert mixes is the only possible solution. At present, we are working and testing effective use of inert gas mixtures in our facilities. Globally, many work is going on. Hopefully, we may have some solution shortly. Now, come back to our subject. Fire detection is simple. Yes. However, early fire detection is very early fire detection, especially very early fire detection is not that simple. It needed a proper choice of detectors and also location of the detectors in such a way it will detect the fire at the earliest possible so that the extinguishing activities can be initiated at the earliest possible. Regarding fire protection, hydrant and hose reel systems are general fire protection system which is used to protect the buildings, especially from the outside. You know, when the hydrant was pointed towards the inside the building, it will cause enormous water damages. And similarly, hose reel system also. But this kind of, especially data centers and critical room, or even in hospital or whatever the critical room says, we need to design detection system properly by choosing the combination of various detectors for early detection and choose the right protection method like inert system, chemical gas suppression system, and water mist system. So these are the systems are available for the effective use within the building, within for especially like a data center or any other critical rooms. Mr. Arun will be a right person now, right here to throw more light on this subject with a lot of data so that we can discuss and find the advantages as well as the limitations and various choices are available in this fire protection scenario. Thank you very much. Arun, you can carry on this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You well said. Beauty and safety don't go along. So, very good statement that you have made. Beauty and safety does not go along. So, Arun Kumar is going. Before Arun Kumar come online, I request all the participants to put your question only in the Q&A box, not on the chat box. I request everyone to pay attention, and we will also take live question. If you want to interact with the speaker, you can raise your hand. So once the session is over, based on the questions, then I will also take live question. But your question should be related to the today's topic only. Do not ask about standards of various other related file systems. So let's focus on only on today's subject, which is early detection, protection for critical utility services. So over to Arun.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for the generous introduction, Dominic sir. With the informative keynote address by my CEO, I will directly step into today's session. I'll take a minute about introducing my company, Agni Controls. So Agni Controls was started in 1985 and has been an indigenous manufacturer, designer, and supplier of industrial fire detection and fire protection systems, with a specialty in protecting machineries and high-risk areas. Agni Controls own the following brands: Balava for all the gas suppression systems, Flooded series for special application, flame, amber, spark, and heat detectors, Balava mist for our water mist systems, and Difa stands for extinguish fire at. Sorry,
Maybe you
direct
need to go to
extinguish fire at
full
early.
screen around. Just a moment. Yeah, you need to go to full screen.
It's not full screen.
No, no, we are just seeing the PPT.
Oh, okay.
Can share your full screen.
Okay.
Now we are seeing your video.
Yeah, I know. So I think now it's okay. You're getting my full screen?
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, right. Okay. The major industries we serve, oil and refinery, petrochemical, power generation, heavy engineering, automobile, textile, and in the last 1 decade, the defense of our country. So coming to today's topic, which we will mainly focus on the active fire protection of data center. The active fire protection is effectively segmented into the early fire detection and a quick fire extinguishment. When I say early fire detection, it means that we need to identify and detect the fire at the earliest possible stage. That means we are identifying the fire at the smallest stage itself. This basic animation, the small animation, will show how the spread of fire and the necessity of early fire detection is necessary. This is based on a research from one of the prestigious institute. We have a room and a corridor, and when a fire is started in one corner of the room, within 30 seconds, the entire room is engulfed into the flame. And within 2 minutes, that is 120 seconds, the fire spreads to the entire corridor. In short, fire, when small in size, can be easily controlled and extinguished, which is going to be the principle for our today's session. In order to detect fire, we need to understand the basic of fire. Fire, being an exothermic reaction, gives out smoke, heat, and light radiation. Like light radiation means like flame, amber, or spark. So to detect a fire, it is very easy we need to detect any one of the or combination of these parameters, that is smoke, heat, or the light radiation like flame, heat, or amber. A simple way to understand is by equating the smoke detectors to our nose, heat detectors to our skin, and flame detectors to our eye. So what does the standard says? The Indian standard IS 2189 clause 5.2, it states that no single type of detector is best suitable for all type of fire. It is always recommended to use mixed type of fire detectors such as smoke, heat, flame, spark, or amber, etc. So coming to the types of detectors, so these are the available technology right now in the fire detection: smoke detectors, multi-criteria detection, heat detectors, flame detectors, and spark and amber detector. We'll just go through each of the detector in a brief. The smoke detector or the smoke detectors are mainly used in the indoor applications. And the major types of smoke detectors are photoelectric type, aspiration type, and beam type smoke detector. The photoelectric type smoke detector is very widely used in many applications. And this is a most commonly used detector. But as I said before, these detectors are mostly used for indoor applications. Whenever there is a dust, water vapor, or fuel vapor, it may trigger and give false alarm. However, I would like to highlight the remarks on this particular limitation that in the newer technology detectors, due to various false alarm elimination methods that are being adopted, the reliability of these detectors are being considerably increased day to day. The next detector we are going to see is the aspiration type smoke detector. These detectors are very widely used, especially in large data centers. Unlike spot type smoke detectors, these aspiration type detectors employ a tube and a capillary hole and use a suction mechanism for sampling the risk area air. This sampled air is checked for any smoke particle for detection of smoke. The limitation of this detector is that since there is a continuous suction of air, a small amount of energy is always consumed in this particular detector. And also, the maintenance of the capillary holes becomes very important, as if it gets blocked, then the sensitivity of the detection and the mechanism of the detection will be down. The next detector is a beam detector. We will not be covering much as it is not widely used in our applications of data centers or critical application. We'll go in for the multi-criteria detector. So this is a combination of smoke and heat detector in a single unit where either detection of smoke or heat can be prioritized, or a combination of smoke and heat can also be set. But being a smoke detector, it is also suitable only for indoor applications. And all the limitations of a smoke detector is applicable to this detector also. We'll move on to the heat detector. So heat detector, we have the following types of heat detector. The thermistor type electronics one, mechanical bimetal type detectors, linear heat sensing cables, and finally the pneumatic heat sensing cables in heat sensing tubes. The thermistor type electronic detectors, they use the thermistors, and two classifications are there. One is a fixed temperature type, and second is a rate of rise type. These are normal electronics heat detectors, and mainly they are in between the ranges of 50 to 60 degrees centigrade only. The rate of rise detector means the detector will operate whenever there is a sudden increase in temperature around 8 degrees centigrade in a single minute. Then the rate of rise detector will give an alarm. It will not wait for the set point of 60 degrees centigrade. The limitations of this detector is that since it's an electronics type, we cannot use these detectors in ambient temperatures where it is more than 60 or 65 degrees centigrade. And also the rate of rise, though in principle they are point of early detection, it is also prone for false alarm. We'll come to the mechanical type bimetal heat detectors. So unlike the electronic type, these mechanical type detectors can be set for a temperature between 45 and we can go up to 320 degrees centigrade also. And being a mechanical type detector, it can be easily employed in almost all the environment, that is in a safe or a dusty place, or even in a explosion or a flame-proof areas. These are just some of the types of the probe type detectors available. And these detectors are customized and manufactured by Agni Controls, and it can be customized and provided in different materials like aluminum and SS. We'll move on to the next detector, which is the linear heat sensing cable. The linear heat sensing cable or the LHS cable have two conductors which will fuse together when the set temperature is achieved. For example, if the set temperature is 88 degree, and when 88 degree is there on any point of this LHS cable, the conductors will fuse together to give an alarm signal. The new type of heat detector is the pneumatic heat sensing tubes. So these tubes are special polymer tubes which will be filled with 15 to 20 bar of nitrogen, and it will operate or it will burst at a temperature between 100 to 130 degrees centigrade. This type of tubing is often coupled with a small extinguishing system, and it is widely used in protecting small UPS or server cabinets for a localized kind of protection. We'll now come to the flame detectors. So the flame detectors are fast-acting light radiation detectors, which can provide a very quick and a very early fire detection. And it can also cover a very bigger area for fire detection. These detectors can be very easily connected to any addressable or conventional panel. I'll just show a small video where we'll be testing around 100 flame detectors in 5 seconds time. So I'll just replay it. So you can find that once it is removed, the flame, the entire 100 detectors are detected within 5 seconds time. The flame detectors, as I said, it can detect longer detection range, and it is also have a higher immune to false alarms. These detectors can be connected to any conventional or addressable or even PLC or annunciator panels. These are some of the flame detectors that are available, which is widely used in a lot of industries. The IH226 detector is very widely used in many industries for non-hazardous applications. These are the flame-proof type detectors where if the environment is explosion-proof or flame-proof, we can use the X-proof type of flame detectors. So I had compared the flame detectors to our eye. So how does the flame detector work? The flame detector, it picks up the invisible ultraviolet and invisible infrared radiation from a flame. When these radiation come and falls, picks up by the flame detector, it will then detect the fire and it will give the signal to the fire alarm panel. And then all activation or activation of a suppression system or just the alarm can be programmed through any fire alarm panel. Okay. These are amber detectors, which are widely used in coal conveyor. I'll just move. The infrared spark detector mainly used in pneumatic ducts. Again, I will move across this detector. So we come to the major point, that is choosing the right detector for the right application, because that is very much important for our concept of early fire detection. This slide shows the comparison of various detectors, that is smoke, heat, combined or multi-criteria detector, aspiration detection, beam detector, probe type heat detector, flame detector, and amber detector. So for indoor application, almost all the detectors will tick. And you can also find for outdoor application, many of the smoke detectors will not be able to cater to the outdoor applications. Similarly, for a class B or like a liquid fire, many smoke detectors may not be able to be used in those. So with this, we will come to the conclusion of what can be recommended for early fire detection for data centers. So as a primary detection source, it is always recommended to go for a spot type smoke detector and an aspiration type smoke detector, depending on the size of the data center, along with the secondary detection of flame detectors using IH226, the UVIR flame detector. Sometimes many people try to use only a UV flame detection, and we as a manufacturer do not recommend it because like the data centers, it is very high and critical risk area. Using only one of the parameter, that is the ultraviolet, it is very highly prone to give false alarm. And that is the reason, as a manufacturer, we recommend to go in with a UV and IR combined flame detector, which is false alarm immune detection, and also a very quick detection source. Similarly, in data centers and many applications, there are a lot of cable trays, electrical shafts, and subfloors where the linear heat sensing cables and horizontal type probe type heat detectors are recommended. Again, a question will come where normally a spot type smoke detector is mostly sufficient. Well, in Indian applications, especially in India, most of the subfloor after a period of time is becomes very, very dusty applications, and where using a smoke detector is going to give a false alarm. And after a period of time, those detectors would normally be isolated and kept out of the detection zone. In order to avoid that, we have been recommending to use it for a LHS cable or a horizontal type probe detector in these areas. That is the cable trace, shaft, as well as the subfloor. So, like, once the fire is detected, it need to be controlled. Okay. So we have done with the fire detection, and now we need to go in for the controlling, suppression, and extinguishing of the fire. The fire detector need to be controlled, suppressed, and extinguished. So why I'm telling is suppression and extinguishing is because these two terminologies are very different. Suppression means bringing down the temperature down to 100 degrees centigrade, and extinguishing means completely extinguishing the flame. These two terminologies are completely different, and that is why in standards and many applications, you will find the terminology as fire suppression and fire extinguishing. So what we are going to do is first bring the fire into a controllable stage. Then we are going to suppress, that is bring down the temperature to less than 100 degrees centigrade, and then finally extinguish the fire. So to fight the fire, we have many technologies, and the available technologies are water-based systems like hydrant, hose reel, sprinkler, medium and high velocity spray systems, and water mixed foam system. Water mist system, which is essentially a water is the extinguishing media, but it is very much categorized as a very special application system. A dry chemical powder and a foam system, which is also used as an extinguishing agent for very special applications like oil fires. And finally, we have the gas-based suppression system like the carbon dioxide, inert, and chemical agents like HFC 227 and FK 5112. So it is like detection, it is also important to choose the right type of extinguishing media and adopting the proper extinguishing method to achieve our desired result of suppression and extinguishing. Just we are going to see a overview of gas-based suppression system. The gas-based suppression system is classified into three: the carbon dioxide system, which we'll not be discussing in this session; the aerosol, again, we'll not be discussing; then the clean agent. Clean agent is in turn classified into chemical agents, that is chemical based fire agents like the FK 5112 and HFC 227, and inert based agents like nitrogen, argon, or the combination of nitrogen, argon, and nitrogen, argon, and CO2. For data centers and most critical rooms, the best suitable suppression systems are the inert, which is 100% nitrogen, IG100 system, or 50% nitrogen and 50% argon, which is the IG55 system, or a combination of 50% nitrogen, 42% argon and 8% of carbon dioxide, which is the IG541 system. The second one is the chemical agents like FK5112 system. And third is the bottomless system. We'll be talking and discussing about all this system. But before that, let us go into the basic of fire science again. As I already said, fire is an exothermic reaction, which means it is a continuous and a chain chemical reaction. And it releases energy in the form of heat. For this continuous reaction, for a fire to be developed and sustained, we need to have three critical materials that needs to be linked together. They are the combustible material, oxygen, and the heat. Only when the three materials come together, it forms a fire triangle, like this triangle. Okay. Once this triangle is formed, fire is originated and it is sustained as long as this triangle remains together. So to fight or to control or to suppress and extinguish the fire, all we need to do is to remove just one of these triangle, one of the line in this triangle. And combustible material is already there, which we cannot remove. So we have the only option to remove either the heat or oxygen. Inert system basically does, what it does is it reduces the oxygen. It reduces the oxygen from 20.9% to less than 15% in the area. By reducing the oxygen, this is an oxygen depletion method. By reducing the oxygen and replacing it with inert content, we are bringing down and controlling, suppressing the fire using the inert system. The inert system can be applied in two methods. It can be designed in two different methods, and it is total flooding and local application. The methods depend on the size of the data center and the locality of the data center. Okay. In the total flooding method, what we are aiming to do is that the entire room, the risk room, we are going to bring the content of oxygen from 20% to less than 15%. That is going to be our aim in a total flooding inert system. And because of this, the entire room should also be very, it should not have any unclosable openings, so that the 85% of our design concentration is maintained for the next 10 minutes. So complete suppression can turn into a extinguishing capability. The local application comes where, for example, in a very big area, we have just a small server cabinet or a switching equipment cabinet. In order to protect this particular cabinet, we cannot go for a complete room protection. So we can go in for a localized protection of just the cabinet or just the area around the cabinets or switching equipments. So here, what we try to do is we concentrate on just the cabinet or the equipment where surrounding the vicinity of the cabinet, we bring down the oxygen contents to less than 15% and also give additional extended discharge so that external oxygen does not rush into the fire to feed it. Some of the pictures of how inert system looks. Let us come to the environmental effects, because this is much more important for many people nowadays, especially with net zero targets are being taken by a lot of companies. As we know, carbon dioxide is not widely used because of its global warming potential, and also it is very harmful for human applications. We are having the inert gas, which is zero in ozone depletion, zero in global warming potential. And since the inert system is not a reactive system, it is an oxygen displacement method. There is no breakdown of inerting due to any corrosive byproducts. And atmospheric lifetime, inert is already available in our air. So we are not adding anything new into our atmosphere. Some of the features of the inert system is that, as I earlier said, it is zero ozone depletion and zero global warming. It has no toxicity to the humans when it is designed correctly within the NOEL and LOEL levels. The cost of refilling is very less when compared to chemical gases. During discharge, the inert gas has a clear view so that people inside can start to exit even when the discharge starts. And there is no damage to the properties as inert does not react to materials. And the inert system can be designed for a common cylinder bank for multiple area protection. The system can be designed in 200 bar and 300 bar. The size of the system is based on the volume and the nature of the risk area. The compliance, the standard at which the system can be designed is as per Indian standard IS 15501 or NFPA 2001 or VDS 2380 or ISO 14520. Various configurations are available as per the design requirements. I just want to highlight a small system that has been updated in this inert. On your right side, what I'm showing here, this is an old system which uses a pressure restrictor fitted in the manifold. You can see this here. So these are the old type of inert systems which are predominantly used, where 300 bar inert system in the cylinder, when discharged, it will send 300 bar to the upstream manifold, and in the restrictor, it will be stepped down from 300 to 60 bar. In the new technology, we have individual pressure regulator fitted in each cylinder valve, wherein it will convert the 300 bar to a constant flow of 60 bar right from the cylinder valve itself. And from our manifold, we'll be having 60 bar pressure. The major advantage is that the constant flow system, since it's a constant flow system, it can be easily designed. The pipeline sizes and the nozzle orifices can be approximately and easily designed to achieve the design concentration, and thereby it is much more effective in suppression. All Agni Controls Balava series inert systems are designed as per the above said standards, as per the IS or NFPA or VDS or ISO, and they are all validated using a VDS German approved software. I'm just going to show a small demonstration of what happens when a signal from fire alarm panel is given to the inert cylinder. Once the master cylinder gets activated, similarly, it will give signals to activate the slave cylinders, and the gas from all the cylinders will go into the manifold, and it will go through the discharge to pipes and nozzles. And the feedback from the manifold that the system has activated will go from a pressure switch. This is just a basic flow of things happening in a inert system. Some precautions that need to be taken care. Always keep escape route free from materials. We need to conduct simulation test at least once in 3 months. Of course, we need to vacate the room. Even if it's an inert gas, we need to vacate the room. Always use cross-zone logic for gas discharge. Don't depend on just one detector discharge, because sometimes it may lead to a false discharge. Set delay timer for personnel to evacuate during discharge if it is possible. Avoid direct contact to discharging agent as it may cause frostbite. Since it's a nitrogen-based system, a direct contact will leave a skin frostbite. And these are being a high pressure system, the discharge, when the discharge happens, it also happens with the high noise levels. So when the inert system is used in data centers, special noise reduction to be added to the nozzles to reduce the high level of noise so that the data center, the servers do not get affected due to the high decibel noise. And most important thing is a pressure relief damper shall be provided to avoid excessive pressure buildup inside. And these dampers or vents should be designed and located properly. We'll now move to the next system, which is a clean agent or the chemical agent system of FK5112. FK means fluoroketone. So fluoroketone is a chemical manufactured specifically for fire detection, for fire suppression purpose. Unlike inert system where it replaces and displaces oxygen, the FK chemically reacts with the fire. It is a chemical reaction. It chemically reacts with the fire, and thereby it suppresses and extinguishes the fire. FK is in a liquid format and it is pressurized with nitrogen for discharging purpose. The agent is a colorless, odorless, and it electrically non-conducting chemical. When FK system is used, the number of cylinders and hardware for protecting this risk area is very less compared with a carbon dioxide or an inert system. The nitrogen pressurization can be with either a 25 bar system or a 42 bar system. Again, we'll go in for the environmental effect of the FK system. And for FK, the ozone depletion is 0. There is a small global warming, but it is less than 1. FK also does not break down to byproducts. The only point is that the atmospheric life of a FK is 3 to 4 days, which means when we are using an FK agent, we are adding a fresh chemical into the atmosphere for at least 3 to 4 days. A few glimpses of different types of FK system. The one in the middle is a small one. It's a built-in with panel. These are for a small server cabinets and small server rooms. The one on the left and right, they are for bigger areas. And of course, for bigger data centers, we'll require multiple numbers of cylinders. The important parameter in a FK system design is that any chemical suppression system need to be achieved 85% design concentration within 10 seconds. So the entire discharge of an FK system or the 85% design concentration of the FK system has to be achieved in 9.9 seconds, which means we need to design the correct pipe size and the nozzle orifice size to have an effective and correct fire suppression. And Agni Control's Balava 5112 is again designed using a VDS German approved software. We will now move to the water mist technology. As the name suggests, water mists are using water as an extinguishing agent in the form of mist. So what standard says is any water droplet that is less than 1000 micron is classified as mist. This is as per all global standards. In water mist, these systems are basically classified into 3 based on their operating pressures. Low pressure water mist system operates than 12 bar. Intermediate pressure from 12.1 to 35 bar, and high pressure water mist system are above 35 bar. In this low pressure water mist system, I've been in operation for many years now. And the water mist systems have always been a point of debate towards its extinguishing capability and effectiveness in a real fire scenario. But this extinguishing capability will depend on three important design parameters. One is the heat extraction mechanism, which is nothing but the cooling effect. Second is oxygen displacement near the vicinity of fire by forming a blanket of water vapor around the fire source. As I said earlier, for breaking the fire, we need to remove heat as well as remove the oxygen content. So in water mist, we are trying to have a cooling effect using the heat extraction mechanism. And also we are trying to reduce the oxygen from feeding into the fire by creating a blanket of water vapor around the fire. Third, penetration of water particles through the flame and dilution of oxygen fuel rich air. So these are the parameters which are highly depend on the extinguishing capability of a water mist system. And apart from this, of course, the risk area fire load will also play a major role in the extinguishing capability. In short, extinguishing capability of a water mist system depend on spray density and spray velocity. The water mist system is most suitable where there is a constraint in the water availability, and water when used could do more damage than the protection of fire, where the other extinguishing agents are unsuitable or unavailable, and where clean and green environment is needed to be improved, because water mist is a green system. However, for a very cost effective and a very less power consumption water mist, we recommend to go for a low pressure water mist system. The low pressure water mist system will be as effective as a high pressure water mist system, except that in a low pressure system, we need to have a higher spray density, which means in a low pressure system, the quantity of water per minute per square meter will be discharged more than a high pressure system. Low pressure as well as high pressure system effectiveness greatly depend on the early fire detection and timely discharge. This can be only achieved by proper engineered system design and by giving proper detection, alarm, and signaling device, including maintenance alert. The Balava water mist systems are well designed and engineered using advanced control and monitoring system. This is a typical scheme of the water mist system where we have a small water tank where distilled water can be stored. The pump assembly kit, this can be low pressure, intermediate pressure, or a high pressure. But it is there with the skid with the pump controlling mechanism will be there. And then near the risk area, we have the discharge control panels, which will monitor the pressure and flow of water into the particular risk area. Currently, Balava mist series are under BSI Kitmar certification for global usage. As my CEO said, so battery storage, for battery storage, the fire detection and fire suppression of battery storage, it's itself a separate topic, which will be handled in a separate technical session, and I'll not be handling it in this session. We'll now come to some of the limitations of the suppression systems. Any water-based hydrant, hose reel, or sprinkler cannot be used, and there is no recommendation for that in a data center. We'll go in for a water mist. We'll go in for the next system, which is the water mist system. It can be water mist fire suppression can be designed for both local as well as total flooding. But the important limitation of a water mist system in data center is that they consume very high electrical energy to drive the electrical motors. And also water mist will suppress the fire. But in order to extinguish the fire, we will need a more prolonged and continuous discharge for extinguishing, which means, as I said earlier, the water mist system will bring down the temperature to less than 100 degrees centigrade. But to completely extinguish the fire, it will need a prolonged and continuous discharge. The limitation of an FK system or the chemical system is that it is to be discharged within 10 seconds, which means the system has a restriction in pipeline design and size. A large data centers mean we cannot have a centralized bank. Banks has to be on multiple locations for a large data center. And during a crisis time, it might be very difficult to go to different places and activate if the automatic system fails and we need to activate the system manually. And one of the other limitation with a chemical agent is that many a times chemical gases are continuously getting phased out because these are chemicals manufactured specifically for the purpose of firefighting. When it comes to inert gas suppression system, one of the important limitations of the inert system is that it requires a high room integrity support, and a properly designed and installed pressure vent is required. Without room integrity, inert system is not advisable because it will bring down the entire false floor or false ceiling without the room integrity. And these being a 200 or 300 bar systems, they are stored in high pressure cylinders and they need to be stored, handled, and protected properly. So we'll just see a comparison of the limitations. I'm going to discuss only four parameters. First, duration of discharge. For a water mist system, it is approximately 5 to 10 minutes of discharge. And always the stop is manual in a water suppression system, being a pump. So we can stop whenever the fire is suppressed or extinguished. For an inert gas suppression system, the discharge varies between 60 to 120 seconds. And for a clean agent or a chemical agent, it is 10 seconds, within 10 seconds. Coming to the power requirement, the water mist pump-based water mist fire suppression, they require a very high power. Typically, for protecting a 150 square meter area, we need for a high pressure system 30 kilowatt, and for a low pressure system 10 kilowatt of power. Comparing that, the inert and the clean agent, they require only a 24 volt DC power with a maximum of 5 amps or even 10 amps based on the capacity of the risk area. But we require only a low power of 24 volt DC. The third point is the manual operation of the system without any power source. In a mist system, it is not possible. We cannot operate the motor or we cannot operate the pump without any power source. We need to have either a primary or a secondary power source to operate the pump system. But for a inert or a clean agent, it is possible. We can always manually operate the system using the manual lever in the cylinder valve. So it is possible to manually operate the system. And finally, the more important, room integrity. For an inert system, as well as for a clean agent system, we need a proper room integrity for integrity of the room, and also to ensure that 85% of the design concentration is there for 10 minutes so that reoccurrence of fire is not happening. But for a water system, that is not required. It can be used in any type of room, and we don't need a room integrity. So with that, we'll come to a conclusion of what type of suppression system we can possibly choose. Well, the type of suppression system is based on the following minimum parameters: size of the risk area, feasibility of installing fixed fire extinguishing system, compartmentalization of the risk area, flammable materials or fire load in the risk area, considering the fire risk of the above fall ceiling and below fall floor, and the availability of power source. Friends, just by preparing some bill of materials and asking for fire protection in data center, it may not provide the desired protection that is required. We should always go in, design the suppression, the most possible best choice detection and the best choice suppression system based on the above criteria. The reference standard for the data centers are as follows: IS 12456, which is the Indian standard for fire code of practice, fire protection of electronic data processing installation. This standard is currently under revision, and the new revised standard will come out somewhere between 2026 and the first quarter of 2027. NFPA 75, that is the standard for fire protection of information technology equipment, and ISO 27001, which talks about fire protection also in IT. So these are the reference standards for design parameters. Of course, the fire detection and suppression will need to be followed the relevant other standards. For example, for detection, we need to follow IS 2189 and NFPA 72 or EN 54. And for suppression, we need to follow either IS 15501 or NFPA 2001. So with that, I conclude my presentation. And if there are any questions and queries, I'll be happy to give them. Thank you very much, Dominic, sir.
Yeah, you can keep the screen that your contact number, which is there, can you put up the screen there so that we can take up questions. So people want to take down your number and email ID can refer that. So I'll take the question answer now. We have almost 15 questions. I'm requesting those who are keen to speak to the speaker on the subject. Again and again, I'm saying be specific to the subject of today's topic. You can raise your hand. I can take the questions. However, you can also type and we can run quickly. I will take another 15 minutes. 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes on Q&A. So Muttaraman is asking what type of heat detection is advisable for coal and biomass fuel storage area, which is semi-closed.
Coal and biomass, sir?
Yeah.
Okay. So for a storage in coal, it can be in coal yard or in a silo. We can go in for an amber detector or a flame detector. So we have a special detector called amber detector, which can detect infrared radiation from a smoldering fire. So in coal, basically it comes as a smoldering fire rather than a big flame. The initial stage of coal fire is a smoldering, something like the agarbatti tip. So that is called as an amber. So we have a specific detector, which I just crossed in our application because we were talking of data center. So that detector can be very well used and it is widely being used across India for coal yard protection. And for biomass, we need to go in for a flame detector. Rather than a heat detector, this is the better type of detection to go for those applications.
Thank you, Arun, for clarifying that. So Aniket Kamble is asking which type of flame detector is used for DG building area, generator area, which is what type of flame detector?
Yes. So the UV and IR flame detectors are usually used in diesel generator areas, either in diesel generator area rooms, or in many applications, we give our flame detectors inside the diesel generator enclosure itself. So it is our IH226 is very widely used in most diesel generator areas.
I remember in those days in late 2000, the IR and flame was so expensive, and you made it so IP controls, I would like to give the credit, and you're exporting to the many countries these products.
Yes,
It is so affordable. I think this can be used not only there, even in the car park also you can use. While we have
yes, sir.
only the detector is recommended as per the standard in the car park area. But I would recommend to use, flame, UV and IR detector in even car park also. Am I right, Arun?
Yes, sir. Correct, sir. And also that our IH226 detector is an LPCB. It's an EN54-10 approved detector. It is having LPCB approval and CE marking. And as you rightly said, prior to 2005, India was importing 100% flame detectors. And today, with the proud moment, we can say that we are now exporting flame detectors to four countries in Europe alone.
Oh,
So
that's nice. More countries in Europe, I'm sure we have a lot of participants from Egypt and Middle East. Those who are interested that you are, there's a wonderful, very cost effective, but highly, I would say, tested and certified product. I recommend you to consider using this product. Okay, next, Aro Bhattacharya is asking, please inform suitable location for an amber detector UAR for coal and conveyor belt application.
yes, the amber detector is widely used in the coal conveyor applications where it is mounted on top of the conveyor belt, facing the width of the conveyor belt. And it is a moving amber detection. So what we do is we fix on top of the coal conveyor belt and we'll keep constantly monitoring the material that is being moving on the conveyor belt for any smoldering fire.
Is
So
there any
please,
distance
yeah,
limitation for that, Arun? How much distance it can, if you say conveyor belt runs
so
kilometers?
yeah, so if it is only for a detection purpose, normally we have one detector for the head pulley, one detector for the tail pulley. It is only if it is only for an alarm purpose. But in many applications, many applications, the conveyor system also employ water spray systems. When water spray systems are employed, then as per the water spray system deluge design, so each deluge system will require a minimum of two infrared amber detectors. So that is how the design will go. You can please write to us, and we'll be happy to help you in the design aspect.
What is the standard? You say Arvind is asking, what is the any height limitations are given in the data center? If you see data center, the data center racks goes up to the ceiling. And also the designing again, because again I come from fire detection industry. Most of the detector that is placed on the ceiling will never ever detect because it is kept near the where air is thrown out. It is not properly designed. You can't just have because of this interior designer come and say it should align with the lighting, it should align. But that's not the way to design. But Arvind is asking, what is the height of the any limitation there for installing the detection in data center or near bus bars?
Okay, so for a spot type detector, there is a height limitation the standard itself is giving. So we cannot go beyond 9 meters height for spot type detectors. And whenever it is being coupled with a suppression system, we cannot go beyond 6 meters height. So for those applications, we can always go in for an aspiration type smoke detector and also in combination with flame detectors as a primary and secondary detectors.
Yeah, for data center, you have false floor, false ceiling, and true ceiling. Aspiration is the best way of detecting the smoke, but flame detector has to be positioned. In many cases, we don't recommend. I don't know the reason. It has to be, as I said, primary and secondary. You should also have the flame detector. That's a perfect design, very sensitive and quick in action. But the spot detector is not recommended for data center or any critical room. Best is aspiration system. Earlier it was very expensive. Today, many people are offering the solutions. I would recommend to have both the combination, aspiration and also flame in the critical room. So Arvind again
Yes.
is asking, sorry, what is the maximum coverage angle for IR and UVs? Can it fit in the conference hall in the corner?
It depends on the size of the conference also. So the coverage is it is a 90-degree cone angle, which means 45 degrees to the left, 45 degrees to the right, 45 degrees to the top, and 45 degrees to the bottom. So it forms a cone of angle similar to our eye vision. So when we put it in the corner of the room, it will cover almost 80% of the room, and maybe only the below area underneath the detector will not be covered. So if you want to cover 100%, I would suggest to have two detectors at both corners, like how you put a CCTV camera.
Yeah,
So like that, you can do
exactly
it.
like it.
But of course,
Right.
it again depends on the size of the room.
So Arvind is asking, apart from the fire load, how much quantum of fire extinguisher gas required? Again, from my experience, it has to be a software-driven calculation. You can't just say by 10 by 10 room, and you have to look at the room integrity, what is the leakage, all that. So a lot of consideration is required, as our Arun Kumar saying.
And
Don't
yeah,
go with just
and also,
BOQ of someone.
yes, sir. And also, many people do not also consider, what they don't consider is that, when the bank is located nearer, the quantity is different. When the bank is sent farther away, we need to increase the quantity. That is because the amount of energy that is spent traveling from the bank area to the risk area is never calculated. So we need to consider. That's why I have given all those parameters there. So all these parameters has to be considered while designing a system, and not just the volume.
Yeah, you said that, it cannot be just a BOQ. Someone is giving a BOQ code for this room area, but it has to be done very scientifically because in my experience, 70 to 80% of the fire suppression system designed in the data center does not put off the fire or does not fight the fire because it is not designed as per the site condition, as per the electrical shaft and whatever the leakage and all that. But it is very critical to design with expert. Today, the clean agent separation offered by anyone, even the plumbing contractor also says I can do. They think it's just a piping. Again, it is not true. It has to have a lot of engineering goes behind in designing the real suppression system. It has to be professionally, it should be handled very professionally. It has to be designed with the right software. So please make sure that when you design the fire suppression, clean agent, or in make sure that it has designed, someone has certified, someone has to be given you the assurance that it will work because accountability is still with the contractor who supplied. If tomorrow if there is a damage, insurance will not give you coverage for if it is not certified. So these are the legal issues, and Arun has already said, it cannot be BOQ based, contract. It has to be design based contract. So Jayakandan is asking what are the chemical element in the inert gas is harmful when inhaled accidentally.
So in inert gas, there is no chemical. Inert is completely the terminology inert means it's inert. So nitrogen, which is already present in the atmosphere of 78% of our atmosphere is nitrogen only. We'll be having a mixture of nitrogen and argon, or the most used system is the IG541, which is 50% of nitrogen, 42% of argon. Both of them are completely inert, and 8% of carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide at 8% mixture is not an harmful for human being, because even what we exhale is carbon dioxide. So when we exhale, we are exhaling only CO2. So any person who is just standing before me will be giving out only carbon dioxide, which I'll be taking in. So small amount of CO2 is always not a big issue, and that is why it is also classified as inert, and there is no chemical in an inert system.
We have a lot of questions, 20 questions. One important question, Kapileshwar is asking whether in data center pressurized cylinder used for inert gas, does it require PESO or CC certificate?
Any cylinder which is pressurized is by mandatory require a PESO certification. This is a mandatory requirement. So without PESO certifications, we cannot use any cylinder.
What
We have to
pressure?
follow the gas cylinder.
Is there any limitation above certain bar, pressured cylinder? If it is 5 bar, 10 bar, we still need a PESO
Yes.
certificate.
So no, for a low pressure less than 20 bar, we don't require a PESO certification. But for higher pressure, we need a PESO certification. This is as per the gas cylinder rule.
Okay. So Govinda is asking, how do we test high pressure water mist system? How do you test?
It's a water mist, so you can very well test it 100% by discharging. So go in for an 100% discharge of water mist system. All you need is the power. So anyway, you'll be having the power because we are going to install it. So we need to have that power. Just spend that power for a couple of minutes. Spend the water. It is only distilled water. In many applications, we will have a distill plant to feed the water, or we can just buy those, refill those distilled water. It is very less in cost compared to the investment being made in a water mist system. So it is in fact very easy for 100% testing. The water mist system is very easy to do 100% mock testing, and it can be seen. It is the chemical agent, like the FK agent, where if you discharge it, the cost of refilling will be almost 50% of the initial project. So that is where many people don't discharge it, and that is where a lot of people also play. But when you come for water mist, you can very well discharge 100%, see the entire testing of water mist system for yourself.
That's a great advantage of water mist. It can be tested, but whereas a clean agent, whatever the supplier gives in writing, we don't know really there is a clean agent inside, whether it is only nitrogen, we don't know. So that's the game changer. So as Arun said, you can always test the high pressure water mist, but not the clean agent. If you test it, you have all the gas out, and again, same cost of in new installations. So that's tricky of this clean agent system. Govinda is asking, this question is, how do we radiate, ionization detector? But I don't think anybody using, but if the detector is 15 years old, I'm sure there are a lot of ionization detector, but there is a circular from BARC. How do we dispose the smoke detector? It's available when you just Google. It says it has to be returned to a particular agencies in certain cities. So the circular is available in BARC website. You can just refer that. So dismiss that. Manik, which extinguisher is recommended to use for data center having 50 servers?
Extinguisher, sir.
Yeah, the Manik Gupta is asking which extinguisher is recommended for data center having 50 servers.
So if you talk of extinguisher, then you can very well go in for carbon dioxide, because any foam or dry chemical powder or ABC, that is the dry chemical powder, is going to harm the servers. So the best extinguisher, handheld extinguishers I'm talking, is going to be carbon dioxide. Or you can go in for even a chemical-based portable extinguisher if you don't want to use carbon dioxide in your facility.
So Shivesh Chaudhary is asking very interesting. What are the limitation with number of inert gas cylinders. What shall be the minimum number of cylinders for half of 3 into 4 rooms? Number of
That
cylinders.
you please
Three.
connect with us, and we can give you the design.
Yeah, Suresh, you can get in touch with you. There's a number and contact number is given. You can contact them. They will give you. For room integrity test is important. How to achieve tight room post occupancy, since most of the doors are only fire rated, not at tight, not
Yes,
airtight.
that's
Yeah,
yeah.
the
So
challenge.
that's actually the one of the limitations of inert system. Uh, achieving the integrity is going to be difficult. All we have to do is ensure that the gaps and wherever possible, the closable openings has to be closed properly. So when you do that, most of the time we would achieve the integrity. Um, but if it goes beyond that, then there is another option. The option is going for an extended discharge of gas. Okay, so it is not that if you have an unclosable opening, you cannot use an inert system. We can use an inert system, but again, it has to be designed properly with the initial discharge and an extended discharge, so that our purpose of maintaining 85% design concentration for around 10 minutes is achieved. So that is going to be our purpose. For that, we have to design.
So Kiran is asking one generic question is asking inert gas is it a human safe since we are replacing oxygen, will it create breathing problem?
So it is always recommended for human to
Evacuate. Evacuate.
evacuate and vacate during a discharge operation. It is the only point is during the initial phase of discharge, like say for the first 10 seconds, when the evacuation is going on, it will not affect the human being. So within the first 20 or 30 seconds, the oxygen content will not immediately come down from 20% to 15 or less than 15. It will come down as low as around 18%. And 18% is the concentration of oxygen in most of the hill stations. So
And
which is applicable.
So there
and
is a
also the standard recommends the minimum design level for the low L and no L. So low observatory, low oxygen levels and no oxygen levels are there. So the system is designed to maintain that, it's not reducing the oxygen content well below like 14% like CO2 does. And just like what Arun said, once the clean engine system or the inert system is discharged, uh, discharged, it's going to be colorless. So it gives more time for the occupants to evacuate immediately. And the NOEL is no observate, no effect and low effect. So the system has to be designed in such a way that the oxygen content is maintained around 15%, where the fire can extinguish. At the same time, it is somewhat safe for the human occupancy also if they are trapped inside.
Yeah. Kiran is asking double light area, which is more required. Is a spot detector, that is multi-sensor. I told if it is above 9 meters, we don't recommend a spot detector. Ideally, if it is a critical area, please go for aspiration. If not, beam detector
Not critical
for
area,
the
go for
double light. Yeah, for double light beam detector. Spot detect does not work. Again, it's a misconception that when you go to airport, the triple light ceiling, they still have a detector. It's just a showpiece. I will call it as a showpiece to someone to say that we have a fire detection, but it doesn't work. Practically doesn't work. Okay, Anil Kumar
so
is asking.
wherever yes,
Go ahead,
sorry.
Anil.
Yeah, wherever spot detector is being used, additional detection system is also being employed there. For example, when Dominic sir said in airports, it's not just the spot detectors. You will also find beam detectors, and in critical areas, you will find both aspiration detectors and flame detectors.
So Anil Kumar is asking, please elaborate room integrity for supporting fire suppression system. If glass door and windows are allowed, airtight again. Should it? Yeah. You want to answer to that question?
But you can just write to us and regarding the room integrity. So we have a separate team who will be happy to help you on that.
The room integrity test is conducted using a door fan test. That's what is normally do. They do, and the room is pressurized and depressurized, and the pressure is about 10 pascals up to 60 pascals. Multiple readings are taken, and sensor readings are taken, determining the leakage index. So windows and door fan test is being taken in areas where windows partitions and glass doors are also used. So yeah, it can be used, but however, it also depends on what type of glass, what is the thickness, what amount of pressure it can withstand also. So that is some consideration that needs to be taken.
Selva, here the internet is an issue. There are a lot. It was breaking in between. I think you just check the strength of the internet there. So Ashok Kumar is saying, Arun, you said water mid discharge time is 5 to 10 minutes, but as per NFPA 750, discharge duration was minimum 30 minutes.
It is not the discharge duration, it is the water storage duration is 30 minutes. If you see if the manufacturer has not designed, if it is not a pre-engineered system, then they go in for a recommended discharge duration of 30 minutes. But for a pre-engineered systems, it is as per the pre-engineered tested duration. And what NFPA says is that you go for twice of the tested duration. So most of the tested duration again, it will go with respect to the size of the risk area. So if the size is smaller, then the discharge may be just between 2 to 3 minutes. So our duration of discharge design will be twice of that. So that's why I've given us 5 to 10 minutes. If there is no pre-engineered system that has been tested, then NFPA says you have to go, NFPA 750 says you have to go for a 30 minutes discharge. So this is the difference. So the next point in the class, you will have the pre-engineered system design.
Okay, thank you, Arun. Arav Bhattacharya, you are asking a little bit more of technical engineering requirement. I would urge the team from Agni to get in touch with you, take the details of your conveyor belt and positioning of all that they can provide you, or you can the number is given below. You can get in touch with them because this require a little bit more explanation. So I am going to pass this question and it will be attended personally by Arun later. So Kapileshwar is what type of detector for fire suppression should be used inside the server rack panel, which has a maximum chance of generate early fire. So you want to answer that, Arun?
Yes. So if it is going to be a server rack or a cabinet type of fire protection, then there are two ways of addressing that. One is a low-cost version. For a low-cost version, you can always go in for our detect and extinguish system, which is a tube-based protection system. It is a low-cost one, and the extinguishing agent can be FK chemical agent. The limitation of this system is that it will operate only at 100 to 130 degrees centigrade, which means it is not an early detection. It is a detection at around 130 degrees centigrade.
After
So
the fire is generated.
yeah, after the hotspot goes very high, then only the discharge start happening. But the advantage is that once the detection starts and the discharge happens, it immediately, just not just suppress, it also extinguish the fire because the discharge will happen directly on the hotspot. This is number one. And second, in addition to being low cost, it is also does not require any power to operate. So you can operate it without any power. But if you wanted to go in for an additional very early warning, in the same system, we also have additional early detecting sensors which can operate at 60-degree or even 40-degree centigrade, which is we can provide as an add-on, and that will be on an additional cost. So for server cabinets, UPS cabinets, this can be the most effective localized fire detection and suppression system. Please get in touch with us. Our team can guide you on the design system of these systems.
Prasanna, you want to talk to Prasanna D'Souza, you want to talk to panelists? The speaker, you can unmute and speak. Prasanna, you there? You want to speak to him? Bhattacharya, you want to speak? You can speak. Anyway, I'll skip this. We'll go to the question. Mutara, data center is power consuming industry. How did it abnormally panel period? Okay, I'll skip that. Dhananjay Mani, what type of system required in fertilizer warehouse? Though we spoke about critical rooms, you're asking fertilizer. You want to take quickly? You want to have a quick answer for
Yes,
that?
yes. So yeah, this is with regard to detection system is they are asking, sir, or
Yeah,
suppression?
whatever. Yeah,
So I'll
detection.
So I'll
Detection.
talk about the detection system. So again, the detection of this fertilizer warehouse will depend on the height of the warehouse, number one, how the fertilizers are stored, whether it is stored in rack system or whether it's stored in pallet kind of system in drums. So like that, this design of this will information height of arrows, how the material is stored in terms of rack or in terms of pallets, and what is the maximum height where the pallets or the racks will be stored. All this information would be required for us to choose the correct detector. Uh, Predominantly, we can go for flame detector. Because again, in a fertilizer, there is any fire chance, the flame is going to burst, and once the fire starts, there are a lot of flammable substances there. The spread of fire is going to happen very fast. So we can go in for flame detection using the UV and IR flame detectors. And in addition to that, we do have a detector where along with the flame we also have a camera. And if the warehouses are in remote areas, so this systems is widely used in many industries where we use a flame detector with the camera, where flame detector detects the flame and immediately the signals of those are pushed into the control room for visual confirmation and taking action. Will be able to give you details on that, sir.
Yeah, basically you need to integrate with current CCTV in case you have there, and with the UV, then you connect it to suppression. Basically, you need to do a bit of engineering. Again, Selva, your voice is breaking. The intermediate, voice is coming. So just check. Sheikh is asking. There are multiple data halls. So he's asking, can we integrate all this, or it has to be independent for each room that is there? So hall means rooms. So you are saying there are many rooms there, and can you integrate? I think we need to know the site condition number, the distance between each. Anyway, Arun, I will expect Arun to answer that.
Yeah, so it depends again, as Dominic sir said, we need to know the condition of the site, number one. We need to know whether there is a connection between these two rooms. So if there is a connection, then we classify it as a interconnected volumes, which means if there is, let's say, for example, your cable trays from one room and the next room are open, then it has to be considered as a single risk volume. And the systems has to be designed like that. But if your rooms are completely protected from each other with a passive fire protection, that even if the cables goes from room 1 to room 2, but it is have a cable coating of fire rating for around 2 hours, then we can consider each room as a separate area, and we can have a centralized system with directional valves for operating one particular area when there is a fire. So it really depends on the scenario, and please do get in touch with us, and we'll be able to give you the more design on that aspect.
So again, Sheikh is also very, yeah. No, nobody asked in my period how to reduce the noise level from the nozzle. I don't know how does it affect, because our priority is to discharge. Whether is there what kind of noise, whether you want to reduce that, I don't know. Arun, you want to answer that?
Yeah, yes. So especially in server and in data centers where we use a lot of servers, noise, when a high noise is there, it affects the magnetic properties of the server, which means the entire purpose of server room is for having and protecting datas. And when there is a high noise, it affects the it affects the magnetic system of the server, thereby damaging the data. And that is the reason we use something called as a noise cancellation or a noise reduction nozzle, where we'll be having an additional noise absorbing material around the nozzle, so
Oh,
that it doesn't make the whistling sound during the high pressure discharge, and it makes a low humming noise, okay, which is not harming the server or a data center. So we have to, whenever we are using in a server room, especially a bigger server room, then we have to go in for noise reduction nozzles.
oh, that's very interesting. Cancellation nozzle protected. Oh, I never knew this. I'm probably hearing for the first time. So it's you developed by you, or is it already available in the market?
It is already available in the market, but we have indigenously developed for Indian market.
Wow, nice. Biju is asking, what is the possibility of open source protocol? This is not the tech. I think most of the panels are now open protocol. I don't know if the closed protocol are still there, but this cannot be answered by us here. What is your thought on the? It is an issue, it's a major issue, because when you have a closed protocol, you're dependent, you're at their mercy of the manufacturer. Even if they tomorrow they increase the detector by 10 times, you need to buy, because no other detector will work with the panel. You have to go with the vendor. So, you're at their mercy. So there are a lot of open protocol panels also come in the market. You can be wise in selecting which make, whether you want to close protocol or open protocol. I'm going to skip this answer. Just whether we can use water missing generator room. One of our client wanted one of client wanted water mist in generator. Is it advisable to use, Arun?
Yes, 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 we can use in generator room and in generators. In fact, we have already protected a lot of generators using our water mist systems. So we can give water mist in the
Okay, I
generators
think
and the
if you
generator
don't
room.
have your name, please write to Arun. He can, because they already done many generator room with water mist, they can give you a solution. So what comes to the clean agent room integrity is required. We have spoken enough on that. Room integrity. If no oxygen is available, the person inside room cannot breathe. If you not gas filled with inside room, That's what Mr. Arun was saying. You get warning early, before it discharge, you get warning to evacuate the room. If and you need to even if it discharge within particular seconds, you need to be evacuated. You can't sit any discharge naturally. It is very dangerous. Not only oxygen, your cylinder can sometimes fly because of pressure. We have pipe can burst. So it is always advisable, whether it is poisonous, whether it is toxic, you better evacuate when there is a discharge. So that is special certificate necessary for dealers, vendor for fire extinguishers. So what Mr. Arun Kumar said, if it is 20 bar and above, you need to get special certificate. So that I'll skip. What type of extinguisher can we use to finish goods edible oil in ARS storage system? Oil, edible oil, box in ARS storage system. What type of extinguisher can be used?
For oils,
Dry chemical and foam.
for oils also there are class K type extinguishers are also available for oil fires, so that can also be used.
So again, Pandiraj is asking, what kind of detector can be used for the ASRS storage system?
Again, sir, but it's the same answer what I had given for fertilizer warehouse. So it depends on the size and how the storage has been done in terms of rack or because some of the storage are air conditioned storage. Then there the deduction methodologies we need to change. So we need to know whether it's a air conditioned or a non-air conditioned, and what is the maximum room height, what is the rack height, how the materials are being stored. Everything has to be analyzed before we can give a solution. So please
Wonderful.
do.
There are so many. Yeah, I think we are running out of time. It's 1 hour 45 minutes that we have taken, and
Okay.
very engaging. Sorry?
Dominic,
Yes, sir.
yeah. We have a very interesting question our members asking, that is about inert system oxygen level. When it is oxygen is lowered by the way of displacement principle by sending the inert gas. So how we can human can exist there. See, this is the very important question, and all the standards are very, very specifically mentioned. You cannot just design and put number of cylinders just like that and spray the nitrogen inside or inject the or discharge the nitrogen into the room. There is a percentage is allowed. At that percentage only you can say discharge the nitrogen gases. That means there is a level called no effect level. That there is a calculation. You cannot exceed no effect level. Another one is if at all you exceed something, low effect level, minimum, small effect it will be there on human. First one is no effect on the human. So these two level has to be followed. Otherwise, you cannot just like that discharge. I have 5 cylinders, so I can discharge everything like that. But CO2, they will be discharging like that. But not for the inert system because it is a clean agent system. You have to have that percentage. Normally, it will bring down and it will be retain around 16-17% where human have some breathing. But interestingly, fire, when the human exists with the oxygen, fire will not extinguish. When the fire extinguished, human cannot exist there. So this is the two different points. So level, mostly inert system, if the human presence is there, that will be mostly a suppression system only, because we will not bring down the oxygen level very, very low. That is why Arun was keep on telling, and you also telling, no, when they started discharging, there is nothing called you can sit and continue or looking around here and there. It has to be vacated and people has to go out. The immediate impact will not be there. So that is the one of the idea on this. So inert system is like that, and protection is there in the form of NOEL and LOEL level.
Thank you, sir. Thank for clarifying that point. And I want to thank Agni Controls, who's been with us, Blue and Gray. We've been hosting, I think we have crossed more than 180, 182 webinars in last 2 years. Thanks for joining with us and jointly conducting this webinar. Tomorrow we are talking about smart and sustainable power system, which is Siemens is presenting. Then we have a topic on thermography inspection on electrical installation by Sonal. On 1st of September, sorry, 1st of March, we are going to talk on smoke controls in the lobby and the basement by Sandeep Goyal, who is also part of National Building Code member. So very interesting topic. Next couple of weeks, we'll be talking. Please do join. We'll keep intimating you about these upcoming webinars. We will come back again. Agni will come back again in the month of April or May with another interesting topic on integrated system, how the designing, the critical requirement of integrated engineered fire protection system, and also the topic on protecting battery, lithium battery, room or bank. So we will come out with something which is subject in demand. I'm sure Arun and Selva will come out with a very interesting topic to all of you. And keep watching us, keep in touch, and Agni, a good engineering company, will be able to assist you further. Selva, you want to say any word? You're there on the screen. Okay. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful weekend, and I look forward to see you tomorrow again. Thank you. Bye bye.
I just want to thank Dominic sir for this opportunity, and congratulate Blue and Gray for the wonderful job they are doing. So dissemination of knowledge is something which is very lacking in the industry, and Dominic sir is known for that for the last 20 years, and now. Thank you very much, sir, for this service, and we hope to be partnering in knowledge for a long time. So thank you for the opportunity, sir.
Thank you so much. God bless you. We all see you again tomorrow and coming week. Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.